We have a very good crowd. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Mari Makali, Commissioner for International Cooperation and Development, Neven Mimita, Chancellor of Auckland University of Technology, John Masland, Members of Parliament, the Honorable David Shearer, Your Excellencies, our friends, and I want also to acknowledge the President of the European Business Council and the Chair of the EU Centres Network here in New Zealand. It is a great day for Europe in Auckland. I'm truly honored to welcome you all today for the official inauguration of Europe House. Europe House has started as, I would say, a humble idea. We went through a lot of processes and some hurdles, but together with our partners and friends, and especially UT, we managed to open the Europe House in these fantastic premises just 6 months ago. And I have to say that in 6 months, it has grown in an incredible way. It has managed to reflect the importance of the EU-New Zealand bilateral relationship. And it has become very, very quickly the heart of Europe in Auckland, which is the biggest city in New Zealand, but also is the business city of New Zealand, the cultural city, the Pacifica city, and the international city of New Zealand. So we are very proud to have a piece of Europe here. I think the fact that it immediately has grown and the EU and its member states have been using it already a lot for all their activities and conferences is due to the fact that the bilateral relations between EU and New Zealand are really flourishing, are very robust, and they are going forward. I can discuss and say the exemplary cooperation that we have on sustainable development and renewable energy in the Pacific. I'm sure the Minister and the Commissioner will talk about that. But we have managed also to, in the past 3 to 4 years, to complete the first political treaty with New Zealand. We have established many dialogues, political, security, agriculture, science, innovation, on education, etc. And I have to say that even what has been not really one of the first priorities some years ago, the free trade agreement between EU and New Zealand, it's really happening, and we are really now at the latest stages of the technical preparation with the view of launching, hopefully, early next year, the negotiations. So with that in mind, I want, and before I ask our the Chancellor of Auckland University to say a few words, and our distinguished guests, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all who have supported this project. Of course, I start with UT. It has given these magnificent premises in the heart of Auckland, where we can see the beauty of the city with these views. I'm pretty sure a lot, they have been very jealous that you offer that to Europe, these prime spaces. I want to thank Professor Holland and the EU Centres Network for the work in assisting us in this process. I want to thank the European Business Council for supporting this process. I want to thank all the ambassadors of the European countries and the honorary councils for embracing it, and of course ENFAT for also supporting throughout this process. So now the floor is you, Chancellor, for you. Thank you.
Michaelis, thank you very much for those words. It's 6 months since we signed the agreement. It seems quite amazing in that respect. Certainly there was a little star, I guess, in certainly Michaelis's eye and in AUT's eye for many months, in fact perhaps a number of years. In fact, I recall, I think about a year or two ago, one of my fellow council members who was very strongly supportive of the European Union came to me and made that suggestion that we really must do something with the EU in terms of an offices based in Auckland. In the early days, of course, we looked at somewhere different, and it was down on Wakefield Street. but I think what we've got here today is a far better environment. That's, I guess, partly because about a year ago, we in Auckland University of Technology do tend to try and acquire and own our own buildings. And this building came up for sale. And while we had just had a long and discursive time with the Tertiary Education Commission about borrowing money, we decided we wanted to buy this building. And it took a little while to get that through, but we did buy it. So you are in actually one of our buildings, not a leased building. So again, we're welcome. So welcome to all of you. Your Excellency, it's nice to have you here. Murray, thank you for coming. And certainly to members of the European diplomatic community, welcome to AUT. AUT, as you I'm sure are well aware, we are the junior university in Auckland, but we're very proud of our position. We're proud to be dynamic, to be young and to be growing. And over the last 5 or 6 years, we have in fact opened a new campus in South Auckland, which we're very proud of, which is taking really the university down to an area where from a socio-economic group and an ethnic group, a lot of work needs to be done. And that campus, we're now building a new building there, and we're looking forward to having something like 4,000 students there within the space of the next few years. So we are a university that's going to go, and we are a university clearly that wants to do things and be involved with people. And with the EU, that's certainly our thing. So welcome. It's great to have you here. It's nice to be here on this opening day, and we welcome you to AUT. Thank you.
I have now the honor to ask the Commissioner for International Cooperation and Development, Neven Mimica, to take the floor.
Thank you. Honorable Mr. Minister, Excellencies Ambassadors, dear hosts from the Auckland University of Technology, dear colleagues, dear friends, distinguished guests, it is my great pleasure to be here today together with Foreign Minister Macaulay to inaugurate Europe House at the Auckland University of Technology. I would like to thank AUT, its Chancellor John Masland, Vice Chancellor Derek McCormack, and Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Rob Allen for providing this space to the European Union. It is a remarkable gesture demonstrating not only the generosity of AUT, but the friendship we enjoy with New Zealand in general. Ladies and gentlemen, this space, with its spectacular views of this beautiful city of sails, came about as a result of a lot of hard work and a lot of trust between AUT and the European Union delegation to New Zealand in Wellington. Europe House is unique in its nature. It is the first time that an EU delegation has created an outpost or antenna together with a university. Its existence points to the extraordinary relationship between the EU delegation and the AUT. But Europe House also provides a very tangible proof of the fast-growing EU-New Zealand relationship. I would like to address 3 of the main pillars of our relations. Europe House stands in the heart of Auckland, a city which is both the center of New Zealand's globalized economy and the Pacific's regional metropole. Even its logo is based on the European and Pacific symbols, and the shared deep commitment to fair and sustainable development in the Pacific and in the world is the first pillar of our relationship with New Zealand. Foreign Minister Macaulay, Climate Minister Bennett, and I have just returned from a mission in the Pacific. We viewed the achievements of combined EU-New Zealand's efforts to reduce and eliminate the regional's dependence on important fossil fuels. We have worked together with the partner countries in the Pacific to introduce sustainable sources of energy. We are making these efforts in a region where people feel most acutely the impact of climate change. Europe House has already provided the platform for a climate change event. Just a few weeks ago, in this room, the Royal Society of New Zealand launched its report, Transition to a Low-Carbon Economy for New Zealand. Today, I'm happy to say that not only have we sustained this partnership, but also we have expanded to agriculture and climate change. Now the European Union and New Zealand work together to bring sustainable development to the Pacific. A second foundation of Europe House is the liberal values that bind Europeans and New Zealanders. It is not coincidence that the EU delegation has partnered with a university in its creation. European partners represent 40% of all international research collaboration with New Zealand's researchers. The ties between European and New Zealand universities are admired. More importantly, universities are the institutional embodiment of liberal ideals of individualism, free thought, freedom of expression, and intercultural tolerance. These values also lie at the heart of Europe. Third pillar is the close collaboration and exchanges between our governments and leaders. This is valid both for the European Union and its member states. During past years, we have seen numerous visits by the EU foreign ministers or prime ministers to New Zealand. Europe House, since opening in December last year, has already hosted meetings of 2 of the EU foreign ministers, and now I'm happy to say a European Commissioner with our New Zealand colleagues. There is a myriad of initiatives, cooperation schemes, and dialogues at bilateral level between our member states and New Zealand. At EU level, last year we closed negotiations on an overarching political agreement, the Partnership Agreement on Relations and Cooperation, or PARC, a first treaty-level framework for our relations. At the same time, we strengthened the links between our economies. In October 2015, European Commission President Juncker and Prime Minister Key announced in Brussels the intention to negotiate a trade and investment agreement. Already before this, Europe House served as a regular meeting place for the many business interests in Auckland that are among the staunchest supporters of an EU-New Zealand FTA. Last but not least, Europe and New Zealand share a history of multiculturalism and multilingualism. And naturally, Europe House will be there for the EU language institutes present in New Zealand. At the same time, it is my pleasure to inform you that the EU is supporting an initiative by the New Zealand Society of Interpreters and Translators to translate the founding treaty of New Zealand, the Treaty of Waitangi, into 30 languages, many of them European ones. Simply because multilingualism is a cornerstone of cooperation in the European Union and a cornerstone of the New Zealand society as well. In conclusion, I would like to congratulate the EU delegation to New Zealand and the Auckland University of Technology. In Europe House, you have created an institution of our friendship. I wish us both every success in building cooperation on this very solid foundation. I'm confident that together we will meet the challenges of the 21st century. Thank you very much.